Hey, what's up, everybody? This Ragna with the question mark again. And I finally watched Wrestlemania 29. And yes, that's probably going to be the opening of every video now. And I'm just going to open up a bottle or a can of something. Alright, so. Many people's been saying, yeah, Wrestlemania sucked. But, at least in my opinion, it was okay. I mean, could have been worse, but it wasn't that good. Like, half the matches I remember watching, but I don't really remember what happened. But I'm just gonna go down the match card and tell you guys my opinion on these things. First match is The Shield versus Sheamus, Randy Orton, and Big Show. And before you guys say, oh, why you keep looking at the computer, I got the match card all set up so I can see it. That, and this is my third time freaking recording this thing, so I'm hoping it works this time. The Shield match was actually got me kind of hyped up for WrestleMania. Mainly because it was actually pretty good. It was well timed. Everything was fun. Well, I wouldn't say fun, but it was fast enough. It was at the right pace where it wasn't too fast, but it wasn't too slow. And just that RKO at the end friggin' got me. And after this is the first time I ever seen the Shield actually wrestle. But I have to say, I'm impressed with them so far. That and Seth Rollins, I don't know if I pronounced his name right. His wad tough son of a gun. Man, because friggin' he went headfirst into the barricade, but he still just stood right back up. But he has nothing on Jun Kasai though. I doubt you guys know what I mean, but if you watch CZW, they were showing just random clips on YouTube, right? And Jun Kasai, his opponent tripped him. His face went to freaking like a board full of razors sticking out on it. And he just got back up, started pitting his opponent, and he even let him out. And he just did like the what's it called, Hulk Hogan thing, whatever. Like, you know, he drops his arm 3 times. It was kind of like reverse Hulk Hogan, where in Hulk Hogan he'd just be like. It was kind of like that, except the dude was pinning his opponent, let him go, and then he was just like, with, you know, half of his face all blood, half of his face all like half blood, just like, and he had like, if you just, I would probably put a link in somewhere, maybe. But anyways, good match. I'm gonna put all these in like a, what's it called, on a scale from 1 to 10, by being either not memorable or what's it called, or average. Mark Henry defeated Mark Henry versus Ryback. Okay, this was a terrible ending. Match itself was a friggin' 5 out of 10, but if the ending wasn't there, because I don't remember much of the match, but the ending was freaking stupid. Like, you could have had a 2-year-old kid write a better ending than this. I've seen TNA endings that were better than this. Basically, alright, I'm gonna show you guys what I'm talking about using friggin' Macho Man here. Basically, alright, I'm gonna be, no, I was about to say Sheamus. I'm gonna be Ryback. Macho Man here is gonna be Mark Henry. And before I continue, I would like to say R.I.P. Macho Man Randy Savage. So basically, you know, Ryback had Moss up for the shell shot. Then what happens? Friggin' Ryback falls forward. Mark Henry lands on his ribs, knocked him out, pinned. Like, seriously, I haven't seen. If it was like a joke kind of match where it was like Rikishi versus someone 3 times his, or someone smaller than Rikishi, and freaking Rikishi gets punched in the face, he falls back, falls on top of his opponent. Like, that kind of ending would have been fine, because that's more of a joke ending, kind of like a joke wrestle match. But Mark Henry versus Ryback, that is not a joke match. The entire time it was freaking serious. And they decided to end it like that. I have to give props to Ryback for lifting Mark Henry above or on his shoulders. But I can't give props to whoever came up with that ending like that. However, I was wrong about that match. You know how I said, like, you know, Ryback won't be able to put Mark Henry up on his shoulders? Or actually be able to do the shell shock on him? Ryback actually did after the match. Too bad it don't count or anything, but he did. So that match got a 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 10. Kane, Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler and Biggie Langston. Alright, this match I really can't say anything about. Mainly because I do not remember. Like, I watched it, but like, it wasn't really that memorable. But then again, half the times, me and my dad were talking, so maybe there's that. But just trying to remember it. I don't remember anything about it, so I have to give it a 5 out of 10. Because I don't remember disliking the match in any way. But I don't remember necessarily saying, oh, that was a good match. Alright. Fandango versus Chris Jericho. Again, can't say anything about it. Like, I remember watching it, but like, just nothing comes to mind when I think of that match. Del Rio versus Swagger. Alright, this one I remember not liking. Like I said, oh, that was a terrible match. But the ending was actually kind of surprising. The armbar that Alberto put Swagger in, that was actually nicely executed. Nicely executed armbar, if anything. So that's why I have to give it like a 4 out of 10, just for that one armbar. And speaking of good matches, or good, beautiful submissions, or anything like that, because I don't think I talked about it in the Shield match, but the RKO that friggin' Orton did on, I believe it was Rollins. It was one of the smaller dudes that jumped off the top rope. Like, freaking Randy Orton just perfectly timed it, grabbed his head, did the RKO. And that's how it got 2 extra points. That's how it's got an 8 out of 10. Undertaker versus CM Punk. I have to give it a 6 out of 10. It wasn't great, but it was... I don't think it would have been a good WrestleMania match. It would have been, like, good Raw ending, but not a WrestleMania match. But it did kind of excite me when I was watching, you know, Undertaker one, because I'm a fan of Undertaker, but no disrespect to CM Punk. I don't think CM Punk should be the one that ends his streak. But, and also I have to give props to whoever came up with the storyline for it. Like, because it actually had me interested in, but I kind of have to wonder, what would have happened if Paul Bearer didn't die? Mainly because, you know, the whole storyline revolved around Paul Bearer's death. But either way, 6 out of 10. Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. Even though it was kind of predictable, I have to say 7 out of 10. But wait, nah, actually. Yeah, 7 out of 10. Mainly because... No, make that 6 out of 10. Mainly because they could have done a whole lot more to that match than they did. Just, like, more weapons be used. Have a little bit of blood in there. And no, friggin' Brock Lesnar bleeding from the lip does not count. That counts as a little bit, but there should have been more to it, but, you know. What are you gonna do? It's friggin' WWE now. John Cena versus The Rock. 4 out of 10. But it was way too slow. Like, I have to say it was probably slower than the Mark Henry Ryback match. Except for a few parts of it that was actually like, oh crap, this is pretty good. It's kind of fast. And I think this is the mark of John Cena being a heel. Just going by the way he made fun of the Rock's thing. Or Rock's, people's elbow. Like, you can argue, well, the Rock did it too, but with Cena, it was more apparent that he was making fun of it. Because, he was like... And, that was the end of it. But, I have to say I was surprised... I'm not surprised by the end of that match, so 4 out of 10. So, basically, it comes down to, 5 out of 10. It was mostly unmemorable. But, I think that's its real problem. WrestleMania is supposed to be memorable. And, to tell you the truth, this is the first WrestleMania in a long time that I've seen all the way through. Not just certain matches, last year I just watched, the Rock match, or the Rock vs. Cena match, and Triple H vs. Undertaker match, and that was it. But, it could have been worse. This was Ragna with the question mark of the TheDustyControllers, and I'm signing out. See y'all some other time. And also, I might end up keep doing these wrestling reviews. It just depends. Maybe only for pay-per-views or something. I'm not gonna do one every week or anything. That get boring after a while. Well, and then again, this show's already boring. But anyways, you get what I mean. See y'all later, and rock on, dudes and dudettes. Oh, and before I go though, I would like to do a one sentence review of the Triple H Brock Lesnar match. Here it goes. Over and over. That's the part that I remember most of the times, whenever I'm drinking something and I spit it all out, it's usually just for no reason. But this time, I was drinking my water. I couldn't keep it in me. And then, as soon as Brock Lesnar yelled for the first time, water just got everywhere. Well, anyways, I kept you guys on long enough. See y'all later.